It's the late night show. Tonight, the cultural production Transnational Culture with special guests Raquel, Catherine, Faith, Kelly, Amal, and Anthony. And now live from Group 9, it's your host, Genevieve.
Hello, hello! Have you ever found yourself streaming a BTS video, binge watching a Korean drama, or even just scrolling through K-pop fan accounts? Then you've already experienced a part of Hallyu. Tonight, we're taking you behind the scenes, exploring how Korean culture has exploded onto the global stage and why it resonates so deeply with audiences around the world. We'll also be connecting ideas to internal and external sources. Don't fret, later we'll also be taking some audience questions. Take it away, Raquel!
Thank you for having us, Jen. Now we will talk about the first argument about the power relations between cultural creators and how it relates to social, and political milieu. A brief overview of culture production. Culture production refers to the process of creating and distributing symbols, such as art and other forms of cultural content in societies. It involves both the creation of these cultural products and their spread through industries to help share them with people. Sociocultural milieu. Culture creators are influenced by sociocultural forces that include cultural norms and local traditions, hence, their work reflects and shapes society. Purdue's concept, fields of culture production, demonstrates how external forces like economic or political institutions impact the creative environment. Therefore, the cultural creators' decisions and products are constructed by social forces which can empower their work. Political milieu. Analysis of cultural policy is important to understand how governmental policies and regulations can shape the specific conditions that the cultural creators work. Jewett and Devu argued that for cultural policy, shifting policies affects the practices of creators by describing what's produced and consumed. Thus, the regulation of cultural industries via market structures, laws, and government support forms power imbalances which determine what gets created and who can benefit from it. Transnationalization and the rise of Hallyu. Transnationalization, a process where cultural products, people, and ideas develop across national boundaries and are no longer connected to a particular place of origin. It relates to cultural products because once it travels across national borders, global power dynamics can be applied. The rise of Hallyu shows the crossing of local creators' work along with global markets where global consumption patterns and the requirements for international appeal impacts local content production. Hence, there is a shift in power from localized cultural expressions to globally acknowledged types of culture, which involves a multiplex negotiation between global forces and local creators.
Thanks, Raquel. Now that we have an understanding of the cultural production in the Korean wave and the role of the cultural producers in the Korean wave phenomenon, Kat will let us explore how cultural creators are able to shift trends in the broadcasting through examples seen in film creators, Korean cinema, K-pop, and cultural production. Take it away, Kat.
Thank you, Jen. There are three major trends that characterize the broadcasting Hallyu in conjunction with culture production. The first major cultural form of Hallyu was seen through TV dramas, as producers pushed to be on global platforms such as Netflix. It started with a few popular dramas that did well in East Asia, where it continued to spread to Western audiences. An early example is Autumn in My Heart. Since then, there have been many more, such as Descendants of the Sun. The second trend are seen through TV producers at network and cable channels advancing entertainment genres. Although TV dramas continue to dominate in foreign countries, variety shows such as One Night, 2 Days were exported to other countries, making them different from normal dramas. The third trend is producers adjusting formats and transmedia storytelling. This means that they adapt the original source into new forms of culture, promoting the creation of content from various sources such as webtoons, dramas, or films. They also pay attention to tech advancements that have changed people's cultural activities to develop transmedia storytelling that attract young audiences who are tech savvy. Korean cinema is one of the major cultural forms in Hallyu as many foreigners enjoy Korean films. One notable example is Bong Joon-ho, who directed Parasite. Korean cinema has been greatly influenced by the government, which means cultural policies impact the rise and fall of the industry. The government supports the industry in two ways, legal and financial. They have deregulated censorship and screen quotas as well as provide funds to develop local films. However, differing agendas creates issues. A motion picture promotion law reduced screen quotas for Korean films in 2006, and the cultural blacklist of 2016 controlled film creators and funds. Bong and two of his collaborators were placed on a blacklist where they were restricted financial support during the creation of Parasite. K-pop has become one of the most significant parts of Hallyu due to global popularity, as global fans enjoy K-pop through various venues and digital platforms. Cultural creators can range from executive producers, composers, and musicians themselves. One of the most relevant is Bang Shi-hyuk, who created BTS in 2013. BTS went on to win several music awards in international music festivals, which reflects the group's transnational activities and popularity. Cultural production is closely related to shifting cultural policies, where Hallyu has been influenced by policies such as censorship, screen quotas, financial subsidies, and tax benefits. Hallyu has changed due to power struggles among players, which can be seen through the blacklist incidents. Culture creators have advanced Korean popular culture in the global scene to the best of their ability, even if they disrupt the growth of cultural production.
Oh, how interesting to see yet another connection between culture production and the rise of Hallyu in Korean pop culture. Upcoming, we have Faith who will educate us about culture creators.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen. To get started, as culture creators produce culture content, they review quite a few factors during the creation process, which contributes to Hailu's longevity. The first factor is foreign export. With Hailu in effect, exporting cultural content is vital in maintaining its foothold in global markets. This means that as they produce cultural content, it is consumed by their national and international audience. Entering international markets benefits content creators as they get government subsidies which can help cover production costs. The next factor is digital technologies. Advancements in technology have transformed how culture content is exported into foreign markets and into the hands of global audiences. In recent years, the most recent technological trend has pushed global audiences to use OTT streaming platforms like Netflix to consume international content. Having contracts with OTT platforms like Netflix has significantly contributed to the growth of Hailu as they reach a bigger and more global audience. Another factor is transmedia storytelling. Culture creators devise methods for adapting existing resources to get around the slow and continuous cycle of new ideas coming out and running its course until a fresh idea comes up. They chose to use webtoons and web novels as news sources and convert them into different media forms, also known as transmedia storytelling. Although transmedia storytelling can be difficult, global and national audiences have responded well to the remade content. Relationship with the government is also another factor. The subsidies given are pretty shady, as in return for the funds needed for the production, they often try and control culture creators by legal and financial means. This has made many culture creators wish the export system gave them favorable tax relief and not regulate and manipulate culture production, as well as support writers and producers in the early stage of cultural production. The final factor looked at is local and cultural identity. Many cultural creators highlight Korean culture rather than focus on cultural hybridity. They've introduced their eventual foreign fan audience to the lifestyle and mentalities of Koreans rather than how fancy the main character is. Culture creators within the field of K-pop and film, however, are the opposite, where they often look to produce content containing hybrid culture with simple cultural mixes.
Thank you, Faith. It was fascinating to learn about the numerous factors cultural creators face when producing cultural content. Now, for our next segment, we have Kelly, our in house researcher.
Thank you for the intro, Jen. For my research on the course connections, I've narrowed it down to two main readings. The first is Manufacturing Creativity, Production, Performance, and Dissemination of K-pop by Park Hyo-sung. Specifically, the two are related by their conversations about the globalization of cultural content, the role of technology, and the actualization of Hallyu. Both readings had an analysis of cultural creators and how they use the GLG model to overcome cultural barriers in order to globalize Korean productions. There's an emphasis on dreaming big, where even though cultural creators stay true to their cultural elements, language, and aesthetics, they adapted to evolving markets and facilitated the export of cultural productions. With regards to a second reading, which is Transnational Television Programs by Jin Dao-young, we see the same theme of globalization strategies. Other themes in common are the analysis of production strategies, the cultural creators and their role in Hallyu, as well as the evolution of cultural identity. Both readings explore the actual process of production and the why and how culture creators facilitated transnational flow of Hallyu. In fact, both readings note that it's the unique TV programs developed by Korean broadcasters that became the major driving force of Hallyu. Overall, it's clear that Korean pop culture blends in seamlessly with Western mainstream media. There's still credit given to international fans, but all readings agree that culture creators, the directors, writers, producers, and artists, are constantly working to transform Korean pop culture itself. The most important connection from all three readings is to realize that Hallyu is not just about the rise in consumption of cultural products, but is the entire process of making something unique and special and putting it out there for everyone to enjoy.
Thank you, Kelly. And now we have Amal, our on field researcher.
Thank you, Jen. Today I'll be discussing how external sources and cultural products relate to key themes from Young Jin's article on culture production in the Korean Wave or Hallyu. We will be examining three main themes: the global spread of local culture, the power of transmedia storytelling, and the influence of digital platforms on cultural distribution. First, the Korean Wave central theme is the globalization of local culture. Jin 2016 explains that Korea's culture creators have achieved international success by balancing local identity with a global audience. A prime example of this is the global reach of K-pop groups like BTS. In videos like Dynamite, BTS blends Korean culture elements with English lyrics and pop influences, making their music accessible worldwide. This fusion of local and global elements is key to their success. Through BTS, Korean music transcends its local roots and builds a global fan community across languages and cultures. Lee 2015. In K-pop popular music, cultural amnesia, and economic innovation in South Korea, Lee 2015 elaborates on how K-pop's blend of Western styles with distinct Korean culture markers has fueled its global popularity. Iwabuchi also discusses how K-pop retains its culture odor in resonances of the global, the role of media in the Korean wave. It focuses on how Korean culture resonates with fans worldwide despite its global appeal. This balance of authenticity and global appeal has helped groups like BTS thrive internationally. The second thing that I'm going to talk about is transmedia storytelling, which Jin 2019A describes in transmedia storytelling and the Korean wave as a way for creators to extend stories across various platforms. A prime example is the webtoon Sweet Home, which was adapted into a Netflix series. Initially, it was a popular webcomic, Sweet Home, and then it expanded into a live-action series, reaching new audiences who prefer visual media. The adaptation broadens the story's reach, capturing different viewer types and reinforcing its global preference. This strategy illustrates how Korean creators expand their original content across platforms to engage larger audiences, strengthening their global impact, which is said by Jenkins 2006. In Convergence Culture, where old and new media collide, Jenkins 2006 highlights how spreading a story across platforms ensures it engages diverse audiences on multiple levels. Lastly, Jin 2019A notes how digital platforms like YouTube and Twitter have transformed how Korean culture is consumed. K-pop groups like BTS uses YouTube to share their music globally, fostering interactive fan communities. These platforms enhance engagement, making digital accessibility vital for expanding a worldwide audience. Neighborg and Powell 2018 also emphasized in the platformization of culture production how these platforms contribute to the platformization for culture production, broadening media access and making culture content more interactive. These platforms not only expand the reach of Korean content, but also create a global network of fan interaction and culture. In summary, examples like BTS music videos, the adaptation of Sweet Home, and social media platforms show how Korean culture preserves its local identity while appealing to global tastes. This illustrates how Korean culture products captivate worldwide audiences, bringing Jin's 2016 and 2019 concepts of transmedia storytelling, global culture reach, and digital influence to life.
Thank you, Amal. Now we'll go to Anthony to answer some of your audience questions.
Consider the influence of government policies, digital platforms, and economic motivations. What are potential benefits and drawbacks of prioritizing either local identity or cultural hybridization in the production of export of cultural content? In this modern era, we are becoming more self-sufficient and technologically advanced. We are more reliant on digital forms of communication. So, digital platforms like Netflix have reconfigured cultural production, facilitating the global spread of Korean content while adding economic viability. Producers increasingly must now adapt their work to better suit digital platforms, securing investments and incorporating digital storytelling forms that appeal to tech-savvy international audience. This need for adaptation demonstrates imposed flexibility on Korean creators and underscores the importance of digital strategy in the global reach of Hallelujah. In spite of the pressure to conform and hybridize cultural content to better suit global standards, Korean cultural creators resist this, placing emphasis on local mentalities over cultural fusion. This deliberate focus on local identity instead of globalized hybridity is crucial, as it maintains the integrity of Korean cultural narratives while still allowing for global exportation and cultural products. How do the roles and strategies of Korean cultural creators and Hallelujah's movement highlight the balance between maintaining local and cultural identity and achieving global appeal? The success of the Korean wave is dependent on the ability of Korean cultural creators to effectively balance their local identity with global appeal. A challenging and complex concept of focusing on Korean cultural narratives while simultaneously engaging with international platforms. Not to mention constant adaptations from creators to maintain cultural preservation and global integration. The delicate balance globally broadens the appeal of Hallelujah, but also strengthens Korea's soft power. Korean cultural creators have emphasized the need to do something that we are good at, such as marketing content with our own stories. By prioritizing content that reflects how Korean people live and what kind of mentality Koreans have, creators are obliged to preserve a distinct Korean perspective that resonates with both national and global audiences, pursuing and maintaining local authenticity rather than succumbing to global standards.
This adventure has been incredibly enlightening. Tonight, we dove into the heart of the Korean wave, exploring how K-dramas, K-pop, and more have surpassed limits and created a global community bound by a shared love of Korean culture. From its local origins to worldwide impact, Hallyu has shown us the powerful ways that art and media can connect us all. A special thank you to our guests for sharing their perspectives and to everyone watching for being a part of this conversation. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world around you. Good night!